There we go. Sorry about that. The content is now being recorded. So any of your comments and what have you will be recorded, but that also means that you will get a copy of this recording as well for your review on the LMS as you have for the other webinars. Okay. So let's move on. So to the phases of a project. I'm giving you the example just as we go through the phases, and you'll recognize this image from your course content. You've been researching possible new products to introduce to your market, and you have come up with 2 viable options that have been chosen for further market testing. So that's what the basis of the project will be about. I'm not going to go into any more detail because we're going to see if you can see. Let's just admit. Okay, so here, if we can say this objective is to manufacture 2 product prototypes out of scope. So what's not in the scope is the research of the product development that's been done and feedback on prototypes developed. The resources are all the persons allocated to prototypes team. Timeline is 6 months, budget is 1 million. Okay, so in the chat, could you just put, do you think that this information would belong to project concept, project definition, planning, execution and control, or closing? If you could just pop in the chat, where do we talk about objective, scope, resources? We have some shy people. There we go. Okay, Benrod, well done. The brave one. There we go. And Memphis, good. Okay, project concept, exactly. Okay, so your concept really talks about the scope, what's important. Ooh, there we go. Okay, the project scope, what resources, your timeline, your budget, but it's a very brief overview. It doesn't go into a lot of detail. Okay. This one, the next one, the purpose to enable testing and feedback on the 2 possible new products, goals to manufacture 2 prototypes and to document the processes for and costs of manufacture, and then the beneficial gains, better understand costs and processes of producing the new products, so that we have a prototype for market testing, and 3, and we are able to choose between the 2 viable options. Would this be the concept, the definition, planning, execution, and control, or closing? What do you think? Okay, definition. Vinrod, you're the brave one. You're always coming with the answers. Well done. Okay, so exactly, this is the definition. Okay. Okay, so in your course content, it says the project definition, essentially it's gathering all the information to be able to fully understand why we're doing this project. What's the purpose? What do we want to achieve? What are the goals? And then what do we gain from this? Okay, so the next one, agenda for monitoring meeting, budget status. Phase 1, spend to date. Then we'll discuss the manufacture status of product 1, challenges and delays, manufacture status of product 2, the final requirements and deliverables to date. What stage or phase do you think that would be from? Okay. Okay. You are playing into my hands, except for Jay. Except for Jay. Okay. The other 2, I was lulling you into a false sense of security by going concept definition, and then I did skip across, yes, okay, to execution and control. So when we are monitoring, and I put the word monitoring in there just to help you as well, to monitor the project is once it's starting. So monitoring happens continuously while we're executing the program, and that's the control element. And then the evaluation will happen at the end. Okay, so I'm glad that I caught some of you out. That makes me very happy. Okay, and then where do we ask these questions? What did we do well? What could we improve on? What would we change for next time? Okay, closing. Yeah, there we go. Perfect, closing, absolutely. So when we close the project, it's always good to do a review and to look at what lessons can we learn for the next time we do a project. Even though no two projects will ever be exactly the same, there's still lessons that we can carry forward. Okay, and then the last one, product methodology, we're going to use the waterfall method. This is the budget. This is a very, very brief one, but budget for phase 1, 2, and 3. Here's our schedule. We've got our key deliverables. What stage would that be? Planning. Planning. Okay, absolutely, planning. So planning is when you really go into all the details. Okay, doing your schedule, exactly, you're breaking your budget down into what's going to cost what are your key deliverables, what are your milestones, what's going to let you know that you're on track. Okay, what's also important in the planning phase is to remember to also plan how you're going to monitor and control the program as well. Okay, perfect. So now that we are happy with the phases of a project, we're going to look into project management methodologies. Okay, so I'm just going to move that aside here. All right, so I've got 3 different types of projects here. Project methods here is Kanban, waterfall, and extreme. So if I say tasks and phases are linear and sequential, what method do you think that would come from? Do you think? Which method? The tasks and the phases of the program are linear and they're sequential. Okay. Jay, waterfall. Yes, exactly that. Well done, Jay. Okay. So an easy way to think of this is a waterfall, you know, comes down and it goes one direction. Okay. And the same way, this project management method goes one direction. Okay. So this is, waterfall often gets a bad rap and a bad reputation. So if you you know, Google project management methodologies, agile will often come up, and it often sort of, some people will talk quite badly about waterfall or the traditional method. And just to point out that waterfall or the traditional project management method is still extremely useful. It's just not relevant for certain types of projects, but it is an extremely useful method. So I wouldn't want you to sort of put it to the back burner. It's really, really good. And it's used a lot for construction and manufacturing projects. So with most of you being from manufacturing, it is something to ensure that you're aware of. Okay, it's often used where it's too expensive to pivot or change direction as you get more information. Okay, and then to schedule this, you would usually use a Gantt chart, which is really, could be an Excel spreadsheet with your list of tasks and the time that you need to achieve it. Okay, so the general sequence of a waterfall method is to understand what your requirements are, analyze them, design, construct. So you've actually got to do the work, you test, then you deploy and do maintenance. Okay, so you can see it all follows along in that sequential way. You can't go requirements, analysis, design, construct, back to changing your requirements. You have to keep going in that same direction. So if you think about building a house, okay, waterfall would be great for that, because you know what you need to achieve. You've got your requirements, you've got your design of your home, you've laid the foundation. You can't now go back and change the design of the home. Okay, so waterfall is very, very useful when you know what your solution is, you know your scope, you know what you need to achieve, and you can plan it all from the beginning. Okay, so what's also really good with waterfall is that it highlights the documentation that needs to be kept. So if you need good records, waterfall is really great. And then if you've got people who are joining you midway to the project, it's also really useful because there's so much documentation and because it's sequential, it's easy for people to come in and know what's been done and where you are and what needs to happen. Okay, so that's the waterfall project management methodology. So moving on to another one. So this method came from dissatisfaction with the linear methods like waterfall, and it allowed a more iterative approach, which means that you can repeat and sort of go back and repeat cycles. Which one do you think this is? Agile, Scrum, or Extreme? Okay, Agile, yes. Okay, thank you, Jay. This is Agile, and I was worried that you were going to catch me out and some of you would say Scrum, because Scrum is quite similar to Agile and that description could fit with Scrum too. But I'm glad you got it, Agile. Okay, so Agile is based on 3 principles. It's about collaboration, working together. It's about being quick. We need to get things done quickly, and we are adaptable. We can change to, or we are open to data-driven change. So as you get more information and you get feedback from what you've started, you can quite easily pivot and change directions and re-look at what needs to be achieved. Okay, so this originated, and I think we're all quite aware of it, in the software development, but it's not only for software development. It's used in projects where innovation is prioritized, because you have to be able to be quite open to changing your original thought. Okay, and where there is an element of uncertainty. So it's often used with computer development, hardware as well, vehicles even, manufacturing of medical devices, and then very much for sort of marketing type projects as well, because you need to get that feedback and then immediately respond. Okay, so Agile really has become a bit of a parent project management method to a number of methodologies. So I've said Scrum and Kanban, but there are a number of them. It allows for frequent testing, reassessment, and adaptation of what you need to achieve. So this is really, really good when you're not sure of the solution. So you know you have to have a solution, but you're not exactly sure what that looks like yet. Agile is quite a good method to use. It prioritizes speed over perfect results. It's not to say that the results are subpar, but they're not necessarily perfect. So just remember that one. If you need heavy documentation and records, if you will be changing people midway, or if you know exactly what you need to do and how you need to do it before you start, then Agile is probably not the right method. Okay, so the next one, your work is split into short cycles called sprints. Is that Agile, Scrum, or Extreme? Okay, Devon, Scrum. Okay, well done. Okay, so Scrum originates from Agile, and it's I don't want to say, yeah, it's quite popular at the moment as well, for good reason. So there is a lot of information about this on the internet as well. So I do encourage you to do a Google and yeah, just learn and understand it a bit more. Agile is quite sort of continuous cycles, whereas Scrum focuses on delivering that business value in a short space of time. Okay, it also started with software, but it's now used across all industries: retail, logistics, business, event planning, and also I've got friends who use it in the financial field as well. It really can be across many industries. Sorry, not sure what's happened. Oh, I pushed the wrong arrow. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's great for continuous improvement. It's a project management method which really takes your team to focus fully on the task at hand. So the whole work, you know, all the work scope is broken up into little bits, those sprints, and then you work on one sprint at a time, which lasts 1 to 2 weeks. But you can't have a person working on 2 different sprints. The point is to focus fully on that task at hand. You meet every morning, you have an update, and then you get on it. Okay, so usually it would be less than 10 people in a team, but this is changing. So Scrum is being adapted to suit larger teams and organizations. The thing with Scrum is that the whole sort of dynamics and roles within a team is slightly different to a traditional role where you've got a Scrum master who really looks at bringing out the best in the team. And then throughout the team, you've got various very strict and specific roles that each member would play. So have a look at it. Scrum Masters are usually qualified. So you've actually got to do a course to be a Scrum Master. But it is a really useful methodology and it's becoming more and more popular. Okay, so the last one. To measure time needed for the critical tasks required. Is that agile, critical chain, or critical path? What would you think? Okay, to measure the time needed for the critical tasks required. Which one do you think that is? Okay, critical path. Good, thank you, Joanne. Exactly. Okay, so for the critical path method, this is a really useful method when you've got very large and complex projects and there's lots of dependencies. So your dependencies are essentially, once you've outlined all of your essential tasks, the tasks that have to happen for you to achieve the goal of the project, you need to highlight what tasks depend on another task being complete. So if we go back to building a house, you can't start building your walls until you've laid the foundation. So laying the walls are dependent on the completion of laying the foundation. Okay, so it's important to understand those dependencies because that shows you where your project is at risk of being delayed and what tasks have to be done on time. Okay, so you would identify the tasks, establish the time required to complete that, and from that you schedule your critical path, and that is essentially each task, how long it will take to achieve that task. You assign milestones, which then will also indicate, okay, phase 1 complete. Okay, so the critical chain method is very, very similar to the critical path. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but just broadly speaking, the critical path will show you the minimum time you need or the maximum time just for how long it takes tasks to be complete. So if we are looking at producing a new vehicle, for example, and we need to get raw materials delivered, the critical path might say the best time that they deliver in is 3 days and the worst time is 5 days. And so if we want to know the longest time that it'll take for the project or the delivery to be done, 5 days. The critical chain takes into account what we call the human element or things that we can't necessarily control. And I think KZN has showed us that. So for delivering raw materials, what if we have unprecedented floods and they can't deliver the material and we have to wait an extra week? So that could quite easily put your whole project off kilter, whereas the critical chain allows some time for that. So just an important thing, it's not to have a buffer of time for every single task. It's just, you could go for milestones. So for milestone 1, there's a lot that can go wrong, we'll add an extra week. Milestone 2, not much can go wrong, we'll just add a day. Okay, so it's just including a bit of a buffer. Okay, and then obviously to measure success of that is if you haven't used your buffer time, that also means that you're on track and good to go. Okay, good, yeah. Thank you, Vinrod, yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly take you through Kanban, which is not something that was mentioned in the course content, but it originated from manufacturing, and it's just for very, very simple projects. So you can see there's an image on the screen. Essentially, you have all the tasks that you need to achieve, and then you've got work in progress or doing, and then done. Okay, so to show you how this would work, for example, you produce garments and your project is to increase production by 10%. So we could say you need to train the workers who cut the fabric to the patterns. What you are in process of doing is that you are finding a new service provider for yarn and you are reorganizing your floor plan. Okay, what you've already done is that you've contracted your new buyer and you've employed more staff. So you can see from this that Kanban gives you a very, very quick, easy overview of where you are in the project, of what you still have to achieve, what you're in process with, and what's been achieved. It also helps you to highlight bottlenecks and if you are over-resourcing or under-resourcing. So if you've got 7 tasks in the doing and you've got one person doing them all and they're taking a long time, it might be best to shift one back to the to-do column so that that resource can focus a bit more. Okay, so just very quickly to show how it doesn't have to be necessarily a big project to use it. You could use this in your sort of everyday work. So if you are in accounts, for example, and you need to open client accounts for, say, 100 people, you could change your column headings: information received, captured, verified, and complete. This way, when your managers or people are asking for an update on how far you are, it's easy to just send through and they can look at it and see, okay, we've done 4 clients or we've got 4 clients as information. It also quite easily shows you, for example, information captured, who is supposed to be doing the verification? Why is there a bit of a bottleneck there? Okay, so it's just a good quick snapshot to help you to use, that you can use in pretty much everything. Okay, sorry, I know we are running a bit over time. We'll finish now, this is it. And then Scrumban, I encourage you just to Google. It's a mix of Kanban and Scrum together, which is also quite a useful project management method. Okay, so that is it from me. Do we have any questions? And I'm sorry for being a minute over. Memphis, I'm glad that I was able to tell you something for the first time. Please, please do Google it. It's very useful and it's something, that you can use pretty much in most situations as long as it's simple. Yes, you use it with pull, so you can't use it if it's a push system. Okay. Are there any other questions over the content or with the practical or anything at all like that?
Hi, Lauren.
Yes.
That's Devin.
Hi, Devin.
When you're writing the summatives, there's a problem with one of the questions, the order with the multiple choices are given.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. If you're asking a multiple choice, for example, you give option A, B, C, D. Yeah. Option A can't be A and B, and option C can't be all the above. So when I did the summative, I failed the first attempt, and when I redid it, then it came in the correct order, where all the above was E. You understand what I'm saying? It's a bit confusing.
Yes. Okay. It's because
and that wasn't the first time I experienced that.
Okay. It's because they are randomized. Devin, yes. What module is this?
It's this module, 3.
3. Okay, perfect. I'll have a look at it. And then go from there. I'll pop it in an email to skills at BM Analysts as well, just because then it helps us to track all the queries.
I'm trying to see which question it was. I'm just checking here.
The question's also randomized, so it might, if it was question 5 before, it might be question 15 in the next time.
No, it was the same order.
Oh,
So it was question 9.
okay.
So it says here, when you're defining a project, which question should be, okay, I don't see select one of the correct answers. The first option was only A and B.
Yeah.
And the second one was, what are the beneficial gain from project management?
Okay.
Then C is, what are the goals of project management, which is also correct. And
Yeah.
then D is all the above. So, and then the
Yeah.
last answer is, what is the purpose of project management? Whereas all the above should appear as E.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So module 3, question 9. I'll have a look at that and then we can see if we can rearrange the order. Thank you for highlighting that.
Yeah, because when I read the test, I mean, the first time I had to redo it, I realized, hold on, the answers are all not the same as the first time you wrote it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And then I realized now it makes sense. When originally you're reading it, you're a bit confused.
Yeah.
And I experienced that in module 1 and 2, but because I passed it, I didn't go back and check it.
Okay, module 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for highlighting that. We'll have a quick look and
Yeah.
chat with the developers and see what we can change. Thank you for that. Yeah. Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, I'll copy you into the email. Yes, we'll look at, yeah. Is there anything else, sorry, on the content or anything? And I know that we are over, so if you don't have questions, please feel free to leave. But if you do have questions, please, please let me know. I am going to put a poll up.
Can I quickly ask a question?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I joined the program late. Is it too late to write a test for module 1?
No, it's self-paced. So are you talking about the summative?
No, I mean, now we're on module 3. I have not done my assessment for module 1.
Oh no, that's okay, Nompilo. It is self-paced. So welcome to the course. I hope that you enjoy it.
Thank you.
The recordings of the past webinars, so the past modules, are already on the system. They loaded on the system under course resources. So you can have a look, but we are going to be starting to actually start again from module 1 as well. So you will be able to join a live one at a later stage as well.
Oh, but can I still go? Because I've got my login. Can I still go?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Please do. Okay.
Can I also ask a quick question?
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
With regards to module 2, you know, I've been struggling with regards to the theory part, you know. I've completed everything, but it still remains as pending, you know. So I cannot complete the summative.
Okay.
Okay, I can answer that question for you, Lauren. I had the same problem at module 2. It's one of those formatives are incorrect. You have to correct the whole 3 formatives.
Yeah, but I've actually restarted and done it over and over again. You know,
check your quiz and see if it's all 3 out of 3.
Yeah. So Devin is correct. That's definitely one of the things that could be causing it. So if you could check that, and then if not, Memphis, can I ask you to email skills@bmanalysts.com and tell us that this is it, because then my colleague and I can work on it. But we would possibly need to log into your account, so I don't want to do it here with everybody. We will, if you could just email skills@bmanalysts, and then we can sort that out for you. But Devin's 100% correct. That is one of the troubleshoot things to check. Okay. All right.
Also the same thing, Lauren.
Yeah.
Let's say you're doing the formative and you get it wrong, and you go back, let's say you have 3 formatives, and then it tells you to review your quiz or to redo. When you go back to redo, it's difficult sometimes to redo that thing. You have to try a couple of times to get that right. It just says incorrect in the bottom. It doesn't give you the option to start redoing that quiz. I had the problem at the module 2 or 3 on the weekend, but eventually after I logged out and came back after a while, I was able to redo the formatives.
Okay, because it should automatically give you the chance to redo it. So
no, when it says redo quiz, it takes you back and it's still got your old answers there and it doesn't clear it.
Okay, okay. Devin, can I ask you to email if it happens again? Because it sounds like it's sorted out now, but if it happens again, could you just email skills@BM Analysts, and then we can chat to the developers? I think sometimes it's also just with technology. I know also when I do the courses, I sometimes just have to log out and then log back in, and it like shuffles itself somehow.
Yes.
But if you do have any more of those challenges, please email skills@BM Analysts. It's just then it's the tickets,
because
so we can deal with it. Okay.
Yeah, because my experience with module 2, and I was stuck with it over a month, and I spoke to Tamron from your section, and she logged in my account and found out that the quiz was incorrect. Because when you say redo a quiz, you have to redo all your formatives.
Yeah.
Not only the ones that you got right, it starts zeros everything out.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
All
All
well,
right.
at least you know the content very well by the time you finish.
Yes. Yes. The module 2, I had to do it 3 times.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because the ticks were gone.
I'm just very aware of the time. We are 10 minutes over, so I don't want to block questions. But was anyone struggling with any of the content covered today? Or are we all right with that? Okay, please feel free to leave. And then can I ask if you do have any other questions relating to the system, or any glitches within your course, so like what Memphis and Devin were talking about, please email skills@BM Analysts, because that will allow us then to operate on the ticket system, and then we will deal with it. We can also then see if there's a trend in one particular kind of issue that we can then escalate to developers to sort out. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining, and apologies for being late, but thank you very much for being here. Please consider joining the practical. It would be amazing to have you on board, and have a great day. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
No worries, thank you.